Hi, friends. Logan Clements here, one of your co hosts with the Better Events podcast. And this week's episode is probably one of my favorite ones that we do annually. We are talking all about our 2024 goal setting for event professionals. We are going to listen back to how we did on our 2023 goals, our little time capsule to ourselves, listen back to those goals and react in real time to how we think we did. And we will share our new goals for 2024. So, for you listeners, this is hopefully a time where you get a real life update for how Mary and I did on some of those goals that we set for ourselves, as well as it might spark some interest for you to do this process if you haven't already, of thinking and recording your own goals for the new year. And again, it's just a fun episode. You get to see how far Mary and I have come with the podcast and personally in the last year. So enjoy.
Welcome to the Better Events Podcast. Join two event strategists, Logan Clements and Mary Davidson, who believe we can all create, host, and attend better events. In this podcast, you will learn about event strategy and actions that you can use today as an event host, planner, or manager. Hear directly from the people who are creating innovative and inspiring events today and tomorrow, and grow your business along the way. Now, let's get started, and thanks for listening to the Better Events Podcast.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Better Events Podcast. This is Mary Davidson, one of your co-hosts, and I'm joined by our other co-host, who is the amazing Logan Clements. And in today's episode, we are talking all about 2024 goal setting, which don't run away. Goals are important. We are excited to have this conversation, and we're going to do a little bit of reflection as well. But we are going to start off with our conversation starter today. So, Logan, hello. How's it going?
It's going great. We're so ready to chat goals.
So ready, born ready. Well, our conversation starter for today is, do you have any travel plans coming up? Because we travel a lot. I think we also enjoy traveling. So what are your travel plans like soon?
Yeah, for me, my brain instantly went to my fun travel that I have coming up. Literally tomorrow, I will be on a plane to Chile for 2 weeks, which, yes, listeners, you heard that correct. I was in Chile before for 6 weeks for work, but I think I only got a handful of days of sightseeing in. And so I had some friends who'd ironically also picked Chile as a destination for a trip now in February. And so I'm going to be going back with them, but to do more of the sightseeing side of things. And I'm really excited, Mary. We're going to Easter Island. I'm going to go see
Legit
the Moai statues, the random statues that no one knows how they got there, but they've been there for thousands of years. So pretty excited about that.
That is going to be seriously amazing. That sounds like a once in a lifetime type of trip. So excited for you. And I'm sure you have tons of other travels, but that is certainly a fun one that's coming up. I just got back from Mexico. I went for a vacation, which was fun because I don't go places very often for vacation anymore. I feel like it's more like work stuff and then I'll extend, which is still fun, but this one, pure vacation. So that's what just happened. And then coming up, I mean, there's going to be a lot more. So that's the recent one that I'm living off of right now.
Very cool. Some international destinations. We both have the international travel bug. But as Mary mentioned, we are talking about goal setting, 2024 goal setting for event pros. And if you go back and listen to episode 86 back in season 3, that was when we did our goal setting for 2023. And I think we just need to reiterate what we said back then is there's a reason we say goal setting and not New Year's resolutions. We know resolutions can be kind of polarizing for some people, but similar to some other episodes we've done here on the podcast and some of the themes that came out of our 2023 Better Events Conference, we are both very passionate about having goals and setting goals. And it's okay if your goals change and it's okay if you don't necessarily hit your goals, but part of just sitting down and thinking through what current you would want can be really helpful and informative when you're in the future, because we want to make sure that we're driving our careers and our careers aren't driving us is kind of what I'm thinking. So that's kind of why we're talking about this topic. And Mary, before we travel back in time to listen to 2023 us, how are you feeling about the new year? Like, is January right now, is it feeling like a fresh start or is it just another month for you?
This is feeling like a fresh start, but really that started for me in December. December, I had, some downtime in a way where I was like, I'm going to get ahead of my goals. I want to think about everything and start reflecting on it now. And so I almost feel like December felt like almost more of that refresh for me, oddly. And then now, I don't know, it kind of feels weird. I don't believe that we're in 2024. So Maybe I'm in denial. That's the current stage that I'm in. But what about you, Logan? How are you feeling about the new year?
Yeah, I think it's a great refresh, starting new kind of phase. I think compared to past years, I'm definitely still in like a reflective wrapping up 2023 mode in a way, just based on how my work schedule worked out towards the end of the year. I felt like I just kind of hit the end of 2023 like a ton of bricks, and the holidays went really quick and everything. So I'm definitely still like in that reflecting period while also wanting to refresh things and make a new vision board and all of that. But then on the side, I'm also like randomly cleaning parts of my apartment that I've never cared about cleaning most of the year. But I literally just did the other day. I cleaned the random drawer under my oven because I was putting clean dishes away, and I was like, there's a lot of crumbs in here. And so I just took the vacuum out, and I'm like, okay, this is definitely doing like a spring cleaning reset sporadically.
I love that. We have been all about that lately in our house, and it is excessive. So I will leave it there, but I am a huge fan that you're doing that. I think that's great.
Yeah, we're getting there. But first, Barry, I feel like before we share our new goals, we got to reflect back and just see how we did for our 2023 goals. And first
Uh-oh.
step, Mary, you say, uh-oh.
I say uh-oh. Yep.
Yep. First up, we're going to listen to January 2023 Mary talk about her first goal for this past year.
I have learned, okay, I'm just gonna get on my soapbox for 1 second, and then I'll start us off. I've learned a lot about goals this year, and how I make them is like extremely motivating or demotivating for me. I have a weird relationship with goals. And so what I'm very motivated by and that I've learned lately is like setting weekly goals that in one way or another happen to impact like my big goals for the year or maybe for life. And so being able to focus in weekly is way more like attainable for my brain than thinking of an annual goal. So it's hard for me to look back at these yearly goals and like remember, I guess, what I've said. So anyway, with that in mind, I try to keep them short and not too long. And I really have changed my focus to weekly goals that align with these. So that's my little spiel. My first goal for this year is to streamline the event process. And I'm trying to put together systems that streamline the process for me, for my team, and for my clients. And so that means, general business operations and systems and project management, not over automating anything because I don't like that, but to create templates, lists, just things that we do in a recurring basis. Because all of 2022, I just remade everything. And I'm like, there's got to be a faster way to do this. And so that's one of my big goals for this year. I think that this happened a little bit less intentionally than perhaps I intended it to at the beginning. I don't know that this was my full focus of this year, not that I said it would be, but this happened through creating templates. We definitely did that. We really used our systems better. We didn't introduce anything new though. So I think we just enhanced what we had, which I would say isn't a failure,
I think
but
you
it was
nailed
just
this
more
one.
maintained.
Be
You think
kind
I
to
did?
yourself. I think you nailed this one. You made templates.
Logan. Thanks, Logan. Okay.
You
Yeah.
made systems.
Cool.
I think you nailed it. All right. Well, now let's hear what my first goal was. One of my goals is to use a project management document that I built for myself because I'd gotten so sick of trying to use other project management tools that are definitely meant for teams and multiple people. And I bring people in for events, but a lot of the times it's really just me. And like I needed my own tracker. And I finally just built it because, like you, Mary, I was also just rebuilding and kind of tweaking everything. And I was like, I just need a template that I can copy and then adjust it to the events. And so I took time in December to sit down and really build that out. It's still evolving. I think it'll be a living document, but setting myself up to save some time on some of those repeatable processes. And so my goal is to actually use it, use my project management doc that I just made at the end of 2022. I did that.
Check.
Check. I did. I made it. I still use it. It did evolve. I refer to it kind of as my workbook. Mary, you've experienced it when you've worked on my teams. I made an internal and an external one. So there's like a Logan only, but I do credit you because I also did start using ClickUp from a project that you and I worked on. And then the conference, we did a lot of our to-dos in there. And so that is something that have integrated into my system as a way to manage my like overarching admin to-dos, because I found having both that personal workbook and the external for my team workbook was a little too many documents. So now I really just, it goes in ClickUp, and that's just a nice like digital tracker for me. But it's not a goal setting episode unless I mention my passion planner. That's still where I track my daily stuff.
Amazing. Good job. Way to accomplish it.
We're starting off strong.
So this brings us to our next clip, which I'm excited to hear from myself. Next goal for me for this year is to build an enjoyable work environment. So as we've said, trying to build the team. And with that, something that I'm very, very aware of and I'm studying a lot about, I'm reading a lot of books about management and going back into the archives of my brain from my MBA and all those things, and like trying to figure out what I want a work environment to look like and what that entails, because I've been a part of some great ones and I've been a part of some really bad ones. And so now I have the opportunity to figure out what that looks like for not just me, but for other people. And so that's a big goal I have, is to have an enjoyable work environment, which is not smart. Like, what does that mean? I'm figuring that out, but I think it's a good goal. So yes. I do not remember any of these, I have to say. So yeah, I think this is a subjective goal. So I guess that's why people do make SMART goals, is because I'm like, did it happen? I don't know. I have been enjoying it. I hope my team has as well. So I might have to ask and find out if it is an enjoyable work environment. We certainly have fun. We have a lot of busy periods. We have a lot of down periods, but we have a lot of fun when we can. And so I'm going to say that we are on the right direction here. Yeah, I like it.
We're trending. We're trending in a good way. I like it, Mary. All right, my next one, my second goal from 2023 was, my next one, again, I did a word in 2022 of intention, and I really liked that because similar to you, Mary, I feel like you're talking about weekly goals, but I kind of sometimes need, like, I think the theme helped me really focus and just kind of bring myself back to, again, the why behind what we're doing. And so this year I split them up. I have a work and a personal one, and my work one is cultivate, I think is my word. It feels like it builds on intention, because to cultivate things, I think you have to be selective about what you're letting in and what you're not. You're saying, you're not saying yes to, and so that's why I want to be more selective with what I spend time on. But then also have that energy and that space to go after some new work and new projects that I have on my goal list of events that I've kind of built out, especially with sports, because there's things that happen every 4 years, like the Olympics and other events that are just really big, and you need to think about them way farther in advance, like years in advance, to start to, line up those opportunities. So my word is cultivate for this year. And I hope by the time I re-listen to this at the end of 2023, that I will feel like that rings true to what I'm saying yes to. And sidebar, my personal one is health. I know a couple other event pros who are focusing on that. I really want to, as a former college athlete, I feel like I need to reconnect with my body and mentally as well, and remembering that I need my body to do all these amazing things that I do at events. I need to be able to stand for long periods of time, lift things, move around. And so I really want to get back into some of my routine that I had pre-COVID that just kind of fell by the wayside, since it's all very important to what I do. I mean, the hard one with choosing a word, I'm like, did I cultivate? I think I just have that. You say you forgot. I did make a visual of mine that is cultivate 2023. Nice. And then I put a vision board of, shout out to Canva, of photos and images to help me stay on track, I feel like, for thinking about what those goals were. And I did incorporated it into what I said yes to. The personal one's fun because with health, I really do think this was my year of health, of going to physical therapy and seeing docs and getting some solutions for some foot pain I've been having. And I've probably talked to your ear off about it, Mary, and many other people, where I think every event professional should be in physical therapy based on how physical our jobs are. So I feel pretty good about that one.
I was listening to the health one and I was like, yeah, Logan, I know that you've been working on just what that means to you this year. So kudos. Good job.
Thanks.
And then I think that brings us to our next one from me. My next goal is to be proactive in client work and not reactive. That's like a phrase I've been saying a lot, be proactive, not reactive. Because, and I've shared this with the lessons learned episode we had a couple weeks ago, but I found myself like things not being efficient or effective. And I was finding myself being really reactionary when clients hire you on to be proactive, essentially. And so I was like, yep, this is what needs to change. So I am trying to be proactive in the work that we're doing, not reactive. I'm going to continue to die on this hill because I still think that this is so important, and it's something that I feel like I have to, like, fight for every day. Like, it goes against natural tendencies on how things happen. So I love this. I think it's been a probably a goal that I have kept my mind on all year, and it's something that I know we need to continue to work on. So let's just make that another goal that I have for 2024.
Well, yeah, work in progress on that one.
Yeah.
All right, now we got my third goal that I had from 2023. My next goal is for my YouTube channel. I want to make sure that I have 150 videos. I already have over 100, which already blows my mind. But back to some of our earlier points we've made on this podcast about consistency, how key that has been here on the podcast. But my YouTube channel is now monetized, which is very exciting. And I have found consistency on YouTube pays off, literally. So just as a nice, subtle kind of passive income, if I can consistently commit to creating these videos, it is something that pays off in the long run. And so I put 150 as a SMART goal because that means I have to post at least like 45 more times this year. And there's 52 weeks in a year. So I have some busy seasons coming up. And historically, that's been times when it's been really hard to stay on top of posting. But I have confidence if I batch it the way I'm thinking about batching it, I should be able to get ahead of some of these busy times a year and turn that into another channel or continuous stream of income for myself. So while I was rewatching this, listeners, I went and looked how many videos I have on YouTube. 147. So I was 3 short of this goal of 150, and mainly because
Ouch.
I had a big gap in mid-March to mid-April, which was when everything was busy and crazy. So it makes sense for why I did not post that whole month. So pretty close.
Oh,
I'd
yeah,
say
close. I think it basically counts. That's
I'm almost,
and
yeah.
it's still
We're
inspirational to me, by the way. I love that you not that I need to give feedback on your goals, but it's great.
it is it is a pat on the back. I did a good job this fall. I think because of how spring went, I did do a good job in 2023 in the fall of getting very ahead. I had these long haul sporting events that I knew I wasn't going to want to come home at night and record. And so whenever I had a moment that I could sit down and record, I did like 4 to 6 videos at a time. It was great. All right, Mary, let's hear your last goal from 2023.
My last one, and then Logan, I'll pass it back over to you. But this is my last one for the year, is for another financial goal for my business to make a certain amount. And so once again, I'm not going to share that amount, but I'll tell you next year if I made it. I will say it's double the amount of my 2022 goal, which I just said I exceeded, but hopefully this one is reachable as well. So, woohoo! Woohoo! It's probably confusing if you're listening to it. Yeah. This is me, Mary, in real time. So, okay, sorry. Yes, this happened. This happened, and I was so happy that this happened. It happened sooner than I thought that it would. So has been a really successful year, which I was really grateful for. And I exceeded it, which makes next year or this year, 2024, even more challenging. So when you hit your goals, it makes the future a little bit more challenging.
I love it, Mary. Congratulations. That's amazing.
Thank you.
All right, my final goal from 2023. I think my last one is like I said, I have a goal list of events. And so for me, it is to book 2 different kinds of events. One, I want to book an international event. I speak Mandarin Chinese. I used to live in Shanghai. International events were literally my jam the whole time. And then I got back into doing events here in the States. And I did a couple in a COVID bubble in 2021, but didn't have any here in 2022. And so I want to book an international event. And then I also want to book a soccer/football event. This is one with the World Cup that just came through. I know was really inspiring, and I had a couple of friends who were working that. The Women's World Cup is coming up this year, which I have my eye on to potentially try to see if I can find a role at. And it's a similar cadence to the Olympics, so just getting my foot in the door because it seems like such a fun. I was a Mia Hamm fan as a kid, so I have a personal tie that I would like to do it, and it just seems like such a fun sporting event to be a part of. I exceeded that goal for the international part. I did a couple international events this year, 2 at least, in 2023, and I did do several soccer events. I worked with both the men's and the women's pro team here in Seattle doing stage managing. So check. Good job. Wow, that was a little like ego boost. We did a good job.
Hitting all these goals, Logan.
Yeah, we did good. Here, listeners, if you needed some motivation to set a goal. It's actually very encouraging when you hit them, even if you forgot what you said, because I didn't remember what I'd said for that last one. So nice job to the two of us. I feel like, Mary, it's now time to put aside all of the good work that we did last year and look ahead to 2024 and what our goals are for this year. Do you want to start with your first goal for 2024?
I certainly do. My first goal for 2024 is to read more books and listen to more podcasts. This year I kind of took not a break, not an intentional break. I just found myself not really like listening to other content as much as I typically enjoy. And so yeah, that's really as simple as that. I don't know that I want to put a number to it, but I want to read more books and listen to more podcasts. So
continuing education. Nice.
Yeah.
I'm going to kick off my first goal for 2024 with my word, which I did put this on my Instagram stories at one point to ask for feedback because I was trying to figure out a word. I was inspired by Shenandoah of the Beyond the BEO to kind of crowdsource that a bit. She blew my mind by coming back to me saying that she's chosen a phrase. So good on you, Shenandoah, for a phrase. But mine, the word that like popped into my head and is sticking, again, last year, 2023 was cultivate. 2024, it's going to be savor. Savor is my word of the year. And this is mainly because I feel like I want to slow down. And I had some really cool projects in 2023 that I remember consciously having to be like, you're gonna miss this time. So, like, have a moment, like, be present. And as a goal, I guess a smart goal that will come off of savor is that I want to add on 3 personal trips or excursions to work trips this year. So I want to take a little time when I can. I'm going to try to be intentional about it so I can savor the time that I'm already on the road for work. I might as well tack on and see some friends in the different cities I travel to.
I love that. That's amazing. It's a great goal. My next one, I should have started with this since you did, but we're going to go back. So I do have a word for 2024 as well, and it is calm. Feels weird, maybe a weird word, but what I mean is I think it will be crazy, but I want to personally remain calm. I want to react calmly. I want to, be able to set myself up for success, and so that I can be calm even when life is crazy. So that applies to life. That applies to business. Calm is my word. Hope it happens.
Calm. It's a good one. You can make it if you're a visual person like me, make a little sign for yourself for your office. I love that. My next goal for 2024 is to outsource some tasks from my day-to-day. Mary's making a face because she knows this is big. I currently don't really outsource my day-to-day tasks. And so whether this is a virtual assistant or exploring the idea of an intern, I still am firm that I don't think I want to employ anybody, but there are just certain things that I caught myself doing in 2023 that I realized somebody else could do. And that just frees me up to either focus on more important things or just even take that back as just some free time because it is a large to-do list. So I want to outsource some tasks.
That's huge. So cool. Well, my next goal is to have quicker response times for, business. My goal really is 0 inbox. And so at the end of the day, you don't have any emails in your inbox. This is going to be hard. It's going to be a challenge. But I would say this is something that needs to improve. So excited to try 0 inbox.
I like it. There you go. My next 2, Mary, are going to be personal. I didn't really come up with a ton of business versus personal, but kind of in line with your first one, I guess you shared. I probably could have shared it around the same time, but my goal is to read 55 books this year for 2024. I read 50 last year in 2023. I track it in my planner. I write down every book I read, and I have a master Excel that I track everything. But I have folks who've been asking about Goodreads. So I'm going to throw my Goodreads link here in the show notes if you want to follow along virtually. I'm currently, I think I got 2 books so far. I try to average 55 books is like 5 to 6 a month. And you will see, and I can visually see on my planner, sometimes I hit it. Mainly when I go to the beach, I nail that goal and I usually do way more. But you can tell when I'm busy because usually I only get 1 or 2 books a month.
Still really impressive. That's awesome. Fun goal. Another goal of mine is to create an event each year. This is something that has happened, and this applies to my long-term goals for business. So, yeah, that 2024, I want to create another event. Not sure what it is, but I better figure it out soon.
This is outside of the Better Events Conference and your Event Pros on the Go retreat.
That's right.
Very
Correct.
exciting.
Yeah.
Cool. Can't wait to get the update on that in a year. I mean, I'm sure I'll get updated before, but listen back to that. My fourth and final goal is a personal one. Kind of, I feel like I'm repeating a little bit talking about health, but my goal by the end of 2024 is to have improved my cardio and physical strength. So again, I think I prioritized health in 2023 in good ways, but I definitely want to just get less out of breath coming up the stairs. And so I don't have a smart way to necessarily measure this. I feel like I'll just know in my body. I know when I move my body, I feel better, and that just helps me show up better at my work. So that's my fourth and final goal.
Love it. I have one final one, and that is to hire another employee, like an additional employee. I have one. She's amazing. It's time for another one if a couple things happen. So by end of Q1 this year, I should know if it's happening or not. So I'm interested to see when we listen back to these in 2025 if this happened or not. It's very contingent upon a couple things. So we'll see, but it is a goal that I have.
That is very exciting, Mary. You're going to double your company? No, 150%.
Yeah.
Increase your company size. Pretty exciting. Cannot wait to see how that turns out. Well, Mary, we also would be remiss if we didn't listen back to our podcast goals from 2023 and see how we did here as a collective podcast.
We had a retreat. So let's give you context. We had a retreat. We sat down. Logan had this amazing idea where we sit down, which I think you got this idea from Passion Planner.
From the Passion Planner. I can't take credit for it.
Surprise. And yeah, I love what we did. We wrote down like our lifetime goals. What was it? Lifetime, 5 years, 3 months.
3 months, a year, 3 years, and lifetime.
That's what it was. And it was awesome. And I would say like we really aligned too as we wrote these down on a whiteboard and stuff like that. And it was cool to see. But so we're going to share a couple of them with you today. And so our 3-month goal was to continue to streamline our processes for the podcast. So we're trying to streamline the way we provide you content, the avenues in which it's provided, and all of those things. And so like social media, trying to streamline that more, and then just streamlining our like internal process of how we produce episodes and launch them and things like that. And all of it is to, we're busy, but we also love the podcast. And so making sure that we can continue to put out things consistently and that are quality. And so for that reason, that's our 3-month goal. It's to maintain, but also improve on our processes. So that's
aligns with what we were talking about personally too, or like in our own businesses. And then our big kind of audacious goal that I like to think of for the end of this year is by the end of 2023, we would like to have launched the Better Events Conference. So, I feel like
drop.
I feel like it shouldn't be a surprise because we're event people doing a podcast. And of course, we'd want to host an event around our podcast. But listeners, if this sounds interesting to you, it's again in its very early stages that we're looking to do. If you have any ideas of what you would want to see or what kind of offerings you would want for something like that, we are in the brainstorming phase. So it's kind of cool to put ourselves in the driver's seat of being event organizers when we're usually the executors, which is very fun, but also can be daunting that we have to come up with the whole event concept on our own.
Yeah, but also very freeing. Like we can take it wherever we want to take it and wherever you all want us to take it. So let us know. Genuinely let us know. Look at that.
Check.
That's crazy because I think that was the first time we announced it, was in that episode. And look what happened. How cool.
Yeah, we manifested it into you guys, the listeners, you were our accountability buddies. We said it and then we're like, well, dang, we already told the audience we gotta make it happen. So, I feel like we've nailed both of those. Looking ahead for 2024, now that we've achieved those goals, like you alluded to, Mary, once you've achieved them, the next ones are a little more audacious, right? They're a little bigger, a little harder to go after. So looking ahead to our podcast for 2024, do you want to share our first goal with our listeners?
Yeah, definitely. So our first goal is to hire a professional to find sponsorships for the podcast and the conference. So really, we want to test an aggressive sponsorship strategy for 2024. Uh, it's terrifying, I think, a little bit, but
Yep.
we want to try. So that's a goal.
Yeah, and, like, big one, listeners, we're thinking of, and by big one, I mean more we're looking for, like, a season-long sponsor,
Yeah,
something like that. I think we're just also admitting that between Mary and I, it's just not our favorite part of what we do here, so we are gonna take our own advice and ask somebody else to come in and help us. So our next goal for 2024, I think this one is a more attainable goal, is that we just, and we talk about that on the podcast, is consistency and just making sure that we're continuing with these weekly episodes. As you hear with our business goals, both Mary and I we're growing and we're evolving as businesses, but I think this is something that consistently brings us joy. And so making sure that we are giving you new episodes every single week on Wednesdays, all the way up until we take our holiday break in December.
absolutely. And our next goal is to launch one passive income stream for the podcast, whether that's through resources or a private community, which we've kind of talked about before, at least around the time of the conference. And so we'll see what it's going to be. We're doing research right now. We are in research mode. So let's see, one passive income stream.
That's the I feel like that's the big hairy goal of
Yeah.
of these 4 that we have, of, like, something new. But yeah, listeners, we wanna try something, whether it's creating more content or just getting more connection points with you throughout the year, kinda harnessing some of what we had at the conference and spreading it out throughout the year. Which, speaking of our last goal, first conference went great. If you haven't listened to our recap back in episode 137, you should go back and listen to it to hear kind of our key takeaways and things that surprised us. But we will, by the end of 2024, we will host the second Better Events Conference. It's happening. We're going to manifest it.
Yeah, we are. We're thrilled about it, honestly. We're looking forward to it. So I think
Yeah.
that brings us to the end of our goals. Those are a lot of goals. Good for us.
We had a lot of goals. We had a lot of looking back. Hopefully, listeners, you enjoyed getting updated on how we did. If you were on pins and needles, if Mary and I achieved what we said last year, and we've set some new goals for this year. So looking forward to it. But I think, Mary, without anything else left to say on goals, you've got our bonus tip this week.
I do. All right. If you are a Harry Potter fan like me, and if you're not, that's okay. But if you are, this is for you. I recently discovered a lo-fi Harry Potter music playlist on Spotify. We will link it in the show notes. I like listening to lo-fi beats when I'm working, and I happen to find a Harry Potter one. So I'm a big fan of it, and check it out if you might be too.
As a fellow Harry Potter fan, I cannot wait to listen to that. Lo-fi beats is my focus music as well. So thank you for that, Mary. We'll have that in the show notes. And that brings us to the end of this week's episode. You can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn at Better Events Pod. You can send us an email at bettereventspod@gmail.com or visit our website, bettereventspod.com. And as always, you can connect with Mary and I directly on LinkedIn. Thank you to those of you that have. We love hearing from you. So seriously, go do that if you haven't already. And as always, we appreciate you for listening, and we'll be back in your feeds again next Wednesday.